I have to take that again. So basically, we are looking at the full stack engineering, right? The full stack engineering. Who is a full stack, and the responsibility of a full stack engineer. Um, and I said a full stack engineer. Okay, come. So a quick engineer is actually the it's actually a combination of two profession, right? So it's actually it's a combination of two profession. So what are those combination of those two profession? Number one, we have a full stack, a front end. Sorry, we have the front end and the back end. So basically, you are doing two job at a time. You are doing a two job at a time. You are building the front end, you are building the back end. And I heard a way to say, what is the front end of a website, right? Now, I say the front end of a website are the user interface, right? Like I use an example of the this application here to give you an illustration of what a front end is all about. Like say, it's actually the graphics interface of your web application. So the color, the everything you are seeing here are the what we call the user interface. The visible parts of your software are the user interface. Visible, like you can see it, can be able to read and be able to know. I think it has to do with the graphics, right, of your application. To those who develop that the graphics applications, the graphic interface are called front end developers. Now I went ahead to list out the technology or the required skills you need in order to be or in order to develop a front end of an application. I listed out the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now I said HTML and CSS are not programming language. They are what we call structural language you can use to develop a software. The basic. Now I said HTML is what we call the hypertext markup language that that focusing on the layout of your web application, that focus on the structure, the foundation. I use an instance variable like we are building a house, a block house. In that block house, the house we are building, you need block to start up the foundation and take it to linter level where you will roof. So that structure of that linter level and the structure of molding putting those blocks. Then after when you are done, you now move to the roofing. That particular spot process is what we call the foundation, the HTML. So it controls um, the structure, the layouts of your web application. It controls the general basic view of your application. And I said, just someone you contract someone to build a project for maybe a house, and the person uses just block. I say, okay, I'm done with the house. Just block house without zinc, without roofing, without paint, without no. It will look very ugly. So every website or every software you are building start with the HTML, which control the structure, right? Where the picture will be, where the login will be, where the drop down will be, the menu will be, the login will be, the search bar, the logo, and the add to cart. So I said these are the HTML. Now when I move to the CSS, which the CSS means the custody style sheet. You get this in your book, your HTML book. We're not started using the materials, but all the projects we are required to do will be coming from that these particular materials. So the HTML, which has to do with the Cassidy style sheet, it actually has out of the scope of this class, but I have to just do a bit of the basic. So the HTML has to do with the Cassidy style sheet. Now, when I say Cassidy style sheet is actually the color you are seeing, right? You see the color You see the design. So after we finish building the house, we now paint the house, plaster the house, put zinc, put windows. It now become a bit comfortable, right, for us to live in. So the CSS has to do with the color, right? The color, to add color in your application, to arrange it, make it presentable. Now, I went ahead to talk about the JavaScript, right? Now, the JavaScript is actually a programming language, right? Used to build dynamics application, used to build dynamic software. And what impacts the JavaScript contribute in building this web application? Having the fact that we still have this color and every other thing. I use Facebook as an instance variable, and also use our own application we are using as an instance variable. I said, if you log into Facebook at the moment, if you notice before, when you want to log into a Facebook app, you have to click on login. It has to load. Then if the password is correct, after loading, it now takes you back incorrect password. Start typing again. So those slow process. So JavaScript make your website look more faster, scalable, and robust, right? It makes your site look faster, scalable, and robust, or robot, or whatever they call it, right? It makes it look more faster. It makes it look more scalable. So the process you can use in typing the password and loading the page, redirecting it to a different request, and bringing you back. It makes the site look slow. But with the technology of JavaScript, it can do that just in few seconds. So what JavaScript does is that it makes your site faster and it make it more dynamic. I use an example or instant variable of we adding a product to cart, right? If I'm to add a product to cart and click to, when I click to, you will notice the price will increment even without loading, and you will see that you have a message here that a message that will say that product add successfully, and you will see an increment of 2 years. So this is actually the work of JavaScript. So it makes the site look more easier and more faster. And I said, for you to be able to do get all these things, be able to get your job done very faster or very fast, you need a JavaScript framework, right? And I say that the framework are softwares and open source softwares you can leverage on in order to faster your development process of building softwares. When you are done learning JavaScript and you want to implement JavaScript in your project, you are required to get a framework. And I said the framework we are going to be leveraging on to be able to get all those small things done is jQuery. So jQuery is a framework we are going to be leveraging on. But after jQuery, there are other framework available for you to leverage on. But for the scope of this class, we are going to be leveraging on jQuery, a framework or like JavaScript library that can help add dynamicness or make your site look very dynamic or much dynamic. Now, having said that, we now move ahead to list out or to outline some of those framework you also going to be needing maybe later in the future like Vue.js, Next.js, and AngularJS, ExpressJS, React.js. So these are different framework you are going to be needing when you are building your software. So like I said, front end basically has to do with the interiors, the user interface of your web application. I hope that is well explained and well understood now. So they can move ahead to the back end. Can you guys hear me? Okay, that's perfect. Then move on to other ones. So so we mentioned about the back end engineering, right? The back end engineering. So, like I said, the modern application actually consists of two layouts, the front end and the back end. I think we've been able to explain the front end, like, all right. Now, another thing also you also need to understand is that the front end, also known as the client area, right? You can also call it the client area, while the back end is the server what? the server area, right, of a web application. Now, so the client area actually consists of the presentation, layouts, right, element, and the interactivity of your what of your website, the visible parts, right, the visible parts of your website. So I think you said that. Now let's move on to the back end, which is the Java what the server side, right, the server side of what of your web application. Now the server side has to do with more of logic, right. We are going to learn how the back end works slowly, and then we move on. Now, the server side, which is the back end, actually consists actually consists of code, different kind of what code and logic. So it has to do with the logic aspect of your website, the functionalities, right, of your website, the ability for you to be able to tell a particular software to do this thing this way, or to do this thing, or to do that in this way. So it actually consists of the server side of your website. So it requires a lot of technology, right? A lot of technology to be able to achieve that. So those two work together. So I want to also go professionally to explain what the back end software is all about, right? Um, so excuse me. So the back end is actually responsible in developing, maintaining, and also building uh, the server side of web application, right? In another type of web app. So primarily, it actually has the responsibility of building the logic parts of a software. Now let me move further on various explanation. Let's say, for instance, I am this application and I want to log in, or I want to log out, right? I want to log in, I want to log out on my application. Now, the user interface, which is the UI, has been able to put all this thing in place for us. The area we can log in, the area we can add to cart. Let's say I want to um, go to my account, I click on login. Let's see what's going to happen. So checking device capacity. So I think now there here is where we have a form. So this form here, it is the front end, not the back end, right? You can see it, you can know what is happening. So the back end is more of the invisible parts. So if you try to click on login, maybe I try to click on login here, I click on continue. Now, what I did was to send information to the server, right? Now, this is where backend comes in. Let me type anyhow password and click on login. You will notice that I receive a message telling me that the password is incorrect. So this is the power of a back-end engineering, a back-end aspect of a website. So what happened here is that the the front end collects this data, this input, and send it to the server. So it collects information from the client area, which is me. I am the client, right? So it collects this information from the client, and then the back end processes the information to the database, where he will check if the username in or the password in database is equals to the password the client is entering, logging him. If it's not, print this particular message out. And if you notice, the page did not reload, right? It didn't see, the browser didn't load. It just send this information from the server, then give us a response. So as the client area, what happened is that the client area collects this information input from the client, send this information to the back end. What the back end will process this information, decide how to display or how to redirect or how to send a user to a particular page. So what happened here is that when I put this information, I receive a feedback which we call a response. So what happened here is that we send a signal to the server. The backend is responsible in sending this signal to the server. What the server will say, okay, oh, you send something, oh, Database alpha. I beg check whether this man dey inside this database. He will check. He will say, no, 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 this man is not here. I can decide to write a message. No, 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 this man is not there. Then it will now bring you back to the same page. Now, another thing also going to be looking at the feature of the backend is that if I'm to type my correct password and click on login, this is what happened. We are redirected to a page asking us to put in our data. Now, what happened here is that the application is asking the client to put in the input. This is instruction from the back end, not instruction from the front end. But the provision for us to collect this data, to type in this data and submit this data to the server is the power of what? Of the front end. So the typing this data is the power of front end. Now sending this data to the server is the power of the back end, which is the server side. So back end controls this or communicate more with the server. We're going to be talking about what server is all about. This server, we'll get to that, right? So back end controls communicate more of the server part of a software. So the process where I see this form displayed is the front end. Why the process where I type this code and it takes me to another page or gives me an error is what we call the back end. So the back end architecture, it is in the invisible parts of the back end. We are not seeing what is really going on, but at least we are seeing responses. So the back end, the front end collects these responses for the back end and display to the client, which we all call it the client side. So it's an interactiveness with the client. While the back end is an interactiveness with the server. I hope I'm not making sense. Please, I want to know if you are making sense at all. Okay, good, good and fine. So this is what the back end does for you, right? Now, if I'm to log into my Gmail now, and you can see my screen. Huh? Okay, you are seeing all the activities I'm doing, right? Okay, good. Let me log into my email to get those codes sent to my email so I can move ahead to understand the back end. Okay, I think it's further some 37. Now, this is the client area, right? So the client area is giving you an instruction, not based on yeah. Are you not seeing my screen? No, are you not seeing code verification code? Yeah. Okay, that's where we are. That's where we are. So 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 what actually happened here is that now what the information we are seeing here is actually the front end, right? So the front end interacts with the user. Now I enter my code. Let me confirm the code 3709. That, please mute your mic. You are distracting us. 3709. Okay, 09. So 09. Now, immediately I enter this information, you notice what happened? He loads, right? I'll give him this information. Then the back end is now in charge of displaying or sending me where they want. Now, if you notice here, you notice that hi Macaulay, right? Right? That's what you can see here. Hi Macaulay. You can also see my previous order. Now, when I click on this link, here this information I'm seeing here are actually collected from actually coming from the database. So you can see some of the product I've been able to get so far, list of my products. So this information are coming from the back end. They are coming from the database. So when you provide the information, they are stored somewhere. So it is the power of the back end that will fetch this information, then display it to the user. So it is the functionality of the front end that will make the information more presentable, right? Make it look more beautiful, make it look more interesting. Imagine me just seeing just few code here, just seeing just few code. I'm just seeing only few code. It's not going to be interesting, right? Excuse me. Oh boy, oh boy, approve the admission of the new intakes. Approve the admission now. Yes, approve. Yes, yes, now. Okay, so as I was saying, so it is the work of a front end that displays this information, right? It displays this information, but it's the work of the back end that collects this information from the server. It fetches this information from the server, then display it is a work of the front end that will make it look more presentable, look more beautiful. So this design here is the front end design. So the back end is the work to display this information, make it look dynamic, right? Dynamic means that this information are not static. We can come in tomorrow, this information can be different, but they are collecting it from the database. So the scope of this course includes database. So now, if you can have access to be able to build, have the knowledge of all this responsibility, then now gives you the technicality to become what a full stack engineer. So bear in mind, a full stack engineer work as a front end developer, also work as what, as a back end developer. Now, what are the technologies or technology you are required to learn in order to become a back end developer or the back end engineer? So I'm going to share my screen also to be looking at more of those technology you are going to be learning, then also explain further on them, and then we now decide the I will now explain to you the technology we are going to be learning regarding regarding our backend program. So I want to confirm if you can see my screen, full stack developer. The screen there, the blue screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, good. That's perfect. Right now, these are the technology you are required to learn. Now, if you remember, I mentioned the front end, right? So in the front end, we move by learning CSS. This is a framework, JavaScript and HTML, right? Then after that, we move to the back end. Now, for the scope of this class, we are going to be learning Python. Now, after we are done learning Python, we now move to framework, which is Django, right? Which is what? Django. Then, when we are done learning Django, during the process of learning this backend, we'll be learning database, right? So the database like MySQL, LightSQL, Postgres. But we're going to be learning two databases here, MySQL and LightSQL. Then after when we are done with that, we also learn about diff operation, where we can learn how to deploy our project, right, using Unicorn or using SQL. So when you are done building, right, when you are done building, you now push to this department, which is testing and deployment. So you also learn how to debug, also learn how to test, also learn how to deploy. Then you also be learning other utilities, right? Other utilities in full stack engineering. So in full stack engineering, you are going to be learning other utilities. So what are those utilities, right? The utilities we are going to be learning, like GitHub repository. We're going to be learning GitHub repository. So GitHub repository is a version control platform where you can store your code, share your code, and collaborate as cohort member. So we are going to be learning on how to deploy our application on GitHub and also how to collaborate. If you are working in a big organization, you actually need GitHub where you can collaborate um, to build a software And let's say you have a responsibility of building the user authentication. Maybe user authentication means the login, the logout, the email verification, the password reset, the phone number verification. Every other thing that has to do with verification, payment verification, is actually what we call authentication, or authentication of your system. We call it yeah, authentication. So these are the area you can say, okay, this is what you need to build. Then you build this, write this code, then push this code back to GitHub, where other developer will contribute, will collaborate and contribute on that your software, and integrate their own software on it, then push it back to visual control system. So we're going to be learning about virtual machine, right? How we can be able to test our software and our local machine, and use a compiler to compile it so that it can be able to run in other machine. If you have a machine like a local machine that has Ubuntu's operating system, or CentOS, or have Windows, then or have let's see the Apple or iOS, then with the compiler and with the visual machine, you can be able to run this application on that machine. So that you will not run this application on Windows, it run perfectly on Windows, then we take it to Ubuntu, it won't run perfectly on Ubuntu. So this is what the virtual machine does for us. It gives us access to be able to install all these operating system, use them to test our software. So think this is actually what the scope what we are going to be learning, and we have syllabus that covers all these projects. Now, another thing is that, what are we going to be building during the process of this training? What are we required to build during the process of this training? So we're going to be looking at the project we are going to be building. Then I think I've listed out the programming language we need. Now, another thing, before I go there, what is the salary of a full stack developer and the salary of a front end developer? Now, a front end developer actually has to do with different kind of a front end is actually specific. So you build professionally as a front end. There are other technology you actually need, right? Even when you are done with this training, there's other technology you will still need to just learn on your own. So what you are doing here, at least you are building a full application. So if you need as you are building at a point, you would like to integrate more technology, because the more you see software, you like to implement the same thing on your software. Then this will now push you to learn other framework, not programming language, but a framework that can enhance your skills. The things that you already know the programming language, you now get a framework. Now, what are the salaries of a full stack engineer? Now, it all depends on the programming language, but I'm going to be focusing more on Python and Django, right? Python developer and Django developer. Now, now as a full stack developer, if you are working in Nigeria here, your salary monthly, I was paid that in naira because this is Nigeria. Your salary monthly as a senior developer should be about 3.5 million naira monthly as a senior Python Django software developer. So you are a full stack, you'll be earning about 3.5 million. Now, as as a um, as a full stack developer abroad, you should be earning roughly, let's say, $180,000 yearly. If you are working in a reputable organization or a very good organization, you will be earning about $180,000 yearly as a full stack developer. Then, as a back end developer, you should also be earning like, let's say, roughly 120, 130, or 140,000 yearly. But in Nigeria, you should be earning like 1.52 million yearly as a senior developer. But as a junior developer, I think it should be within, with let's say 1 year experience, should be within about. I'm talking based on my own experience, not statistics. No, I'm talking based on my own experience. An organization that I'm a consultant, so I have a lot of companies that I hire people to, right? So I'm talking based on my experience here. So if you're a junior developer, as a Django engineer, let me even mention something. Django and Python are really what is trending now. It's the best backend program you need at the moment. It's the best backend program you need. Facebook, YouTube is actually using the same thing. Instagram is using the same thing. It can do googling. It can do a bit of googling and get those facts. I'm not talking. I'm talking based on facts now. So that is it. That is for the salary. That's for the salary. So let's now go back to what we are going to build. Then when our slab will comes out by hopefully tomorrow, we'll now be able to understand what we are required to learn, how the internet works, and how other things work. So it's going to be taking like 1 week to be able to cover up those theory. They will now move in coding. We can't just start coding without knowing how these things works. It's very, very fundamental for you to know them. So let me move ahead to what you are going to build at the during this program. Not really at the end of the program, but during this program, what you are intending building. So let me quickly goes to that. Although I didn't list out everything here, but the truth is that there is no limitation to what you can do at the end of this program. So I think I've been able to mention the program we're going to be learning, right? The front end and every other program that you require as a front end engineer. It's not this. It's not this one. It's not this one that I need. I needed something. Something. There's something. So we're going to be closing soon, so that please always check your dashboard for your project. Always check your dashboard. I think most of you who have active email will be notified whenever project is coming out. But project won't come out until you have fully integrate your code. So project will not come out. The project should be start coming up any moment from now. So for the back end, um, right? So for the back end here, we are going to be learning Python and Django. Now, I'm gonna ask this question. I want to know if you guys can still hear me. I'm just talking to myself. Can you guys hear me? Okay, that's fine. That's perfect. That's perfect. Now, another thing is that why do we choose Python? Why do you choose Python? Now, I would like to go more in depth about Python and Django. Right? Python is actually very easy to learn. Right? If you just Google one of the best programming language in the world today, I think Python should be the first or the second. Right? So if you look at Python chat, with the recent trend of AI, ChatGTP and others, you will notice that more people Python is actually in demand, right? Go and look for Python or software engineering jobs. Just Google it and look at the salary of a Python software engineer or a Python Django software engineer, where you learn other programming language. But right now, Instagram uses Django. So if you are done with Django and Python and Django, then you can work as a back-end engineer uh, in Facebook, Google, or any of this company, Netflix, Dropbox. So this company uses Django to powers their backend. So if they are going to employ as a backend engineer, you are required to know Django. I think a simple Googling can okay. Let me just do that. You are learning, right? So let me just do that so that you can have the basic company that I will share my screen uses Python and Django. So, I'm just trying to okay. So we are not just getting this from any random website. So we're actually getting these things from one of the one of the um, can just do some googling and get these informations. They are there. Uh, friendly I'm sorry. I have to share my screen. Sorry, I haven't shared my screen yet. Oh my god, just sorry about that. I thought you guys had seen my screen. Okay, let me get it. Get that. Okay, so confirm if you can see my screen now. Hello, can you see my screen? Sorry. Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, now these are these are companies. Django is a Python-based framework, right? Giving developer the tools they to need for rapid as well as free web application, right? Now you can find that several major companies employ Python or employed Python for their development project, right? Now look at the companies that use Django's for their backend. So that if you are learning it, you now decide, okay, if you want to work for a company, right, or you want to start your own tech company, it's fine. If you want to work for a company, a tech company, these are the company you can send application to. Not just these are just popular companies. So I didn't see YouTube here. It's a lie. YouTube is still um, YouTube is here. I don't know why YouTube is not here. YouTube is built with Django. You can see Instagram here, right? Instagram is built with Django. You can see most of you, like me, I use Spotify a lot for my music streaming. I use Spotify, so you can see Spotify. You can see Pinterest. Most of you that like African designers or African native clothes, you know what Pinterest does. So these are the few companies, right, that uses Django. I'm not satisfied with this what's it call it with this um, I'm not really satisfied with this. All right. Confirm if you can see my screen. So that I'll move on. Okay. Okay. That's perfect. That's perfect. Here we have Stripe. Most of you know Stripe, right? Who can tell me more about Stripe? Stripe is a payment gateway, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's a payment gateway, right? A payment platform used mostly for making payments online. They also have their own built-in APIs. We are going to be building APIs in this class, so we are going to be doing huge. As long as our cohort are strong. So thank God they should pay with a cohort that is not lazy. You guys will do incredible things. Can anybody hear me? Okay. Then another thing also is Django is Netflix. So they use Python for their CND and data analysis, right? So you can see that there is no limitation to what you can do as a Python developer. It all has to do with your ability and your just your energy to learn. So technically, there's nothing you can do with Python. So Netflix uses Python. They use it specifically, like if Stripe uses Python for their API, right? So using Python to build that API, and Python is a very robust, a very robust programming language, and they can't do that without Django. So Django is very robust, and they use that to build our APIs. And some people ask what is APIs. So API simply means application. Should be application interface, whatever. I think it should be yeah. There should be application. RGB application, whatever. Yeah, application programming interface. Yeah, I think that's it. Application programming interface. So it actually uses to interaction between two different server. So let me just go to basic now. If you go to Amazon or maybe go to any of this e-commerce platform, you are required to make payment with your card. So if you notice that payment is not actually coming from Amazon. It can be coming from a different company. So that's a ACPI means interaction, ability, a platform where you can be able to interact into different server and get information. We are going to be learning that, not now, not now. That should be later. So you can see wonderful Google, right? Google uses Python, C++, and every other um, so you use that for every other part. So there are different areas they are required to use Python, right? They use although they use different programming language in different section. You can see Google is very huge and robust application, and you can't just use one programming language to do that to handle that. The area they use C++, area they use Java, area they use Go. Go is actually owned by Google, right? So okay, now for example, YouTube application they uses Django's. YouTube was how they use Django was YouTube was built with Django framework specifically. Just now look at the Instagram, look at the NASA, Spotify, right? So Facebook, right? Facebook, Facebook uses Python for their production engineering, right? So Facebook uses Python. PayPal uses Python. So Dropbox does the same thing. So Uber uses Tango, a Python framework alongside Node.js, Go, and so this site is actually telling you most of the companies that uses Python, right? So these are actually what you can be able to do with Python. Not just building webs, building APIs, building application, building games, right? Right. So when you are done learning Python, there are things you also require to do. It's actually very huge. I'll have to just stop here. Then what are we required to learn in this program, right? So, and how many months it's going to be taking us. So, I'll be like taking you to just the basic part and then move to the advanced part of what we intend learning during this program. So, move on here. Yeah, we have, sorry about the write up. Think, let me move on to, so if you are coming in, right, um, let me start from the back end first. So in the back end first, we're going to be. I hope I'm recording. Okay, I'm recording. So doing this back end, we're going to be diving in HTML. So this HTML can take us like 1 month. CSS can take us like 1 month. JavaScript can take us 1 month. Bootstrap can take us 1 month. So Bootstrap is actually a framework, right? A CSS framework. So you can use that in building application, right? So we're going to talk about that. Let me move on. Now, during this course, we're going to be building an application like to-do list application. So the to-do list can because basically what it does is kind of an tax driven or an inventory application where you just put in things you intend doing. So we are going to be designing that because it's the front end. We are not going to be doing much of the back end, like much of the server interactivity or maybe storing some information, right? So we're also going to be designing a kind of multi-vendor e-commerce application. We are not going to be doing clone. We don't clone people project here. We build our own project. The flow chart, the UI US department will do it, the design for us of a kind of um, software they want us to build an e-commerce site where people can come in, purchase products, see products, add to cart, but they can't order, they can't buy, they can't log in, right? They can see the login portal. Like if you notice the interactive interaction I did earlier or explanation I did earlier using the login portal, how the front end communicates or send information to the server. So we can put this information, but this information cannot be processed. Just the design to build an e-commerce site. We are not cloning. We are not building Jumia. That are we building Amazon. we are building our own idea, our own design, right? Which are going to be bringing from the UI team. I think we will have students who are also learning UI. It's actually going to be part of their project. Then we'll build a portfolio portal. So a portfolio portal like let's see, design portal like let's see, any kind of portal you want, just mention it. But you are not going to be given a UI for that. Then after that, we will build a job recruitment application. So job recruitment application is just like where people will come in and see list of jobs, they can apply jobs. We are going to build a dashboard, right? A dashboard of the project. Like you see our own platform, the obedient text learning platform. We are going to be design a similar dashboard like that, right? But it's not going to be functional for the front end. Then when we are done, we now move to the back end, where we'll be building more of logic and interactive application. So yeah, what happened is that during this back end, um, excuse me, during the back end classes, we are going to be building expenses management software. So this expenses management software is actually application that are going to be having inventory, right? Inventory application to record numbers of expenses the amount of things you've been able to spend in a particular day. Like I have this application for my wife. My wife uses it. So whenever she wants to uh, get things for the kids or maybe things for the house, she required to log in there and list the prices of those things. So I use that to track how much I spent every month. I use that to track my incomes flow, right? So what we are going to be here specifically is that we are going to be working with authentication, login. People can log in, they verify their email, then text them to the dashboard. Then people can see that dashboard. They can add categories of expenses. They can create their expenses. They can create income, like income, where they can be able to create, add their incomes, daily incomes. They can add daily expenses. So when you add the daily expenses, we are going to be working with a lot of data like JS chat, where we can be able to rank these expenses or income based on chart. So if you're having expenses on, maybe you're a business person, you sell product, maybe you're having more of expenses are coming towards the maybe engineering sector or programming sector. You say, "Go programming. This month I am maybe $5,000 or $10,000." Then you see them on the chart. Programming this month, programming, I have enough income in programming. Then you look at the area you are going to be working on. Then another one also, in time of expenses, look at the area you are spending. So okay, this area in foodstuff, in groceries, in kitchens, this is area I think I need to work with in school fees. So those are the features coming in from the expenses application. The another thing is that you can also export or import those expenses. So you can import their expenses application, import it to PDF or Excel. You can also print them and they can export it, then send it to the email. Then that's what we are going to be doing on that expense application. And that's also, we are going to be working with payment APIs like you can, yeah, let's say for instance, the way my own application works is that if my wife has a budget of maybe 100,000 naira for the week or for the month, then she has to request for the payment. Then what I would do is that I look at the budget and review the budget. Maybe I approve the budget, our account will be credited. So I connected it with Paystack. I use Paystack to do that. Paystack API. So our account will be credited immediately. So I don't necessarily need to there to do the transfer. Time of logging into the app, network will not be available, and the stress is much. So I decided to build that application, launch it on a cloud. Whenever she needed it, she just go to our dashboard, and she can also track our expenses from there. I hope you are communicating. Hello. We're also going to be building a multi-vendors application. Now, this multi-vendors application is application that has three different users, right? So when it comes on the app, you can register as a vendor, or you can register as a normal. Um, a normal user, then we now have the admin end. So the admin will approve vendors. Admin can delete products, which we call it CRUD operation: create, delete, and update. So we're going to be working with that. Then in our vendors application, we're also going to be building a dashboard that as a vendor, you have your own customer dashboard where you can create product, where you can add product. Then admin can assign where the product you want the product to display, right? Admin can decide, okay, I want to assign this product to display here. Admin can delete a vendor, can also create a vendor, right? A vendor basically just like a merchant, they sell their product on the platform. So when they come in, we register, verify your account, as a vendor, you apply to be a vendor. Maybe they approve you, you have access to a premium features of a vendor. So when you register initially, you only see a dashboard where you will not have access to some features. Unlike most of you, when you register on our on the obedience portal, you don't have access for some features, right? Immediately you get to a particular stage, then you'll be able to have access. Even in your materials, you don't have all the materials because at this point you don't need those materials, right? The one you need is the one given to you at this point. When you are done with that stage, those materials will automatically be unlocked. You will have access to those materials. So what happened in this vendors application is that where they can manage their products, see how many sales they've recorded, how many people that have purchased, track orders, deliver orders. So when somebody order, they can see the orders of the person, they can track the person, they can track the order, they can download the order, convert those order in PDF. They can also convert all the orders they have in a month in a PDF, be able to take it for data analysis and look at the area they are doing well and the area they are not doing well. So to fertilize vendors, that vendors also have the power to set the price, right? The price of their product, to create product and sorry, please, I don't want anybody to interrupt me. After class, you can ask your question. I don't like I hate being interrupted when I'm teaching. Thank you. So a vendor can also have a place you can edit, delete product if you want. It all depends on what you really want. What you really want the application, the features of the application to have. Then we also have the user. User can come in, purchase product. Then another thing we're also going to be doing is the payment API, right? We're going to be working with two payment gateway. We're going to be working with Flutterwave and what's it called it? Flutterwave and Paystack, right? So but basically what happens is that when they comes in to buy a product, we will get a payment portal for them. They'll put their card, the money will be deducted in that card. Then the vendor the vendor dashboard will be credited, then they can withdraw the money to their bank account, right? So I will tell you how this payment process works. So when they comes in, they purchase a product, they deduct this money from their account, and the vendor dashboard will be credited. Then also we're going to build an area of commission where admin can automatically deduct commission. If you buy a particular product, maybe buy a product of 5,000, the own admin can or the owner of the platform can get a commission of 500 or 200 or 300 as a commission. So the commission will be deducted automatically from the vendor application. So we're going to be implementing a lot of technology on this software. If there's anything I didn't explain in the application, we are going to be doing that, right? We are going to be implementing those models, all right? We're going to do more of the implementation. Then still on this, we are going to be working with a lot of database and collaboration, working with a lot of technology to achieve this. Then secondly, they are going to be building a job recruitment website, a job recruitment portal. So basically, this job recruitment portal will also have um, three kinds of authentication. So two kind of permission. So we are going to be setting each user want to having a permission, right? Like if you come to my dashboard on obedience software tech, I have admin sticker there, but you don't have because I'm an admin. So we're going to be working with a lot of user authentication, right? Login, verify, phone number. But this one we're going to be using phone number verification, email verification, and whenever you want to log in, they're going to send you a code to verify. So in this recruitment portal, so vendors or recruiter will have access to, excuse me. Okay, so recruiter will have access to create a job, then create a kind of job they want, the categories of jobs they want. Then admin will have access to approve the jobs, right? Then those who are looking for job will come in, register, apply for the job, upload their CV. Then when they upload their CV, an email will be sent to the recruiter telling them that so person had applied. When they log into the dashboard, they will see the person's CV, download the CV. Someone send the person email on the dashboard there. They can send the person email for an interview. They don't need to go to their Gmail to do that. That's the feature we are going to integrate. You just go to mail. When you go to mail, it will type your email, send them an interview email right there on your dashboard without going through your email. So we are going to be building those features. Then we are also going to be building a kind of a job tracker that can be able to track all the jobs activities and how many people that have been employed in your platform. So another thing also we are going to be doing is that we are going to be implementing what we call authentication permission process. Permission process is like we are going to be having different kind of um, subscribers on our recruitment app. So um, these subscribers will like who has to who has to pay. So when you pay, you have access to features, right? You have access to features like sending of the email. You have access to the feature of sending of emails, maybe features of let's say when you subscribe, there are some features you will have, right? There are some urgent job, maybe most important job. We can display, yeah, we can assign your product or your job to a home page where everybody can see it as a premium. Most of you know GG. Like GG, if you go to GG, you can see that you see an ad called promoted. So those are paid members, right? Subscribers. So our subscriber will have access to a premium features we're actually working on. Now, another thing we're going to be building like email checking, result checking application. Now, most of you school in Nigeria, like if you want to go and check your jam and check your WAEC, so you are required a particular pin to do that. So we are going to be building application that check results, right? User result and track user performance. So what happens is that when you come to this application, you put in your exam pin, right? When you put in the exam pin, if the exam pin is on the database, it will get your result exact the way it was created in the database. If it's not there, it will give in an error, maybe message telling you that this is not valuable. Then we're also going to build in image scraping application, how we can be able to look at a particular web scraping, how we can be able to look at a particular more of a data science. They use this to get a trending product, maybe product. Let's say we want to get a product in Jumia, the prices of all the phones, latest Oraimo earpods or Oraimo phone or Oraimo products. We want to get their prices, right? We want to still get the same prices in GG. We want to still get the same prices in Konga. They will comprise the two company prices and know which one is lesser, right? So what we are going to do is that we are going to be working on with those email we're going to be working with those web scripts and be able to track prices of a particular website, then use those prices to compare them. We can write them in Excel, write them in PDF, write them in anything we can think of. Then we can use them, analyze those data, and get a good result from there. So we're going to go through sending like email sending script. So what happened is that this email sending script, like it can send emails maybe at a particular time periodically. So you can set your time when you want the email to send and when you want the email to deliver to um to a particular user. And moving ahead, we are going to be building a lot of applications, and these are cohort these are cohort projects. These are cohort projects. So they're going to be a cohort stuff, right? So each cohort will have a project they are going to be building when we officially start. So another thing we are going to be building here, the next one is what we call a content management application. Now, this content management application is like Twitter, right? Twitter is a content management application where people can come in, update their post, people can like their post. We are not building clone, right? Everything we are building will be fully designed and integrated by the UI team. So everything will be built from scratch, right? Then we build what we call a content management system. So a content management system here it's kind of a platform where people can come and register, have their profile. A profile will be created. So maybe the user is registered, a profile will be created for them automatically. Then whenever they post, they'll have their profile names. People can comment, people can like their post. Then we'll talk about e-commerce. Then the fintech application, good. This is my favorite. I love this one. Now, this fintech application, we're going to be building a bank, right? A bank, a bank that has a credit card where you can create a credit card. I think I just finished building that. I just finished building that project just for the purpose of this class because I have to build first so that I can teach you people. So all this application I'm saying have all been built by me, just waiting for you guys to come. Then I start teaching you guys. So it's not just application. I just say, okay, we're building. All these applications have been built by me. So now, what on this application? What happened is that when you come in, you register and you first thing you do your what we call the KYC, right? KYC, that's what you're going to be doing. This KYC, you verify your information. After your information has been verified, then account number will be created for you automatically, right? Automatically. That account number, you can use it to transfer funds from one user to another. So we are not going to be transferring funds to another bank because for us to do that, we require the permission of central bank, right? So there are licenses you need for them to give access to that API. Although if the API is free, we can be able to do that. Then we are not going to, our credit card can only be used within our platform, right? Or maybe we are going to build API that other people can use on their platform, but that credit card they are going to be using, we will check if they have money on their bank, which is the application we are building, for them to be able to deduct them. It can be a different site, but they're going to use our API to integrate on that application. So this is our fintech application going to be having an API and a payment gateway API. Then another thing is also we're going to be building that, like I said, a bank will be created where you can do transfer. You can do transfer to one bank to another. You can print your statement or account. So your account will be sent to you monthly and all that. Every features bank has, we are going to be building that. So this is what we are going to build. The last one is what we call CROM, create RAM and delete. So CRM applications, just like the crude operation application where people can just create and do stuff. So these are things we are going to be building in the next 8 months. You see, this class is huge. This class is content filled, and I want you guys to stick by. Those who will stick by, you will enjoy this class. At the end of this class, you become the real software engineer you want. And don't think there's any software you cannot build after the end of this class. I will have to wrap it up. Then I have to give room for question and answer. Thank you, guys, and look forward for your questions. Okay, if you have question, please indicate. I will call you in to